for a company to hire a trans person and then not publicly stand by them is worse, in my opinion, than not hiring a trans person at all.
Happy Pride. Happy Pride Month. And actually, let's declare it a summer of pride. Happy Summer of Pride.
Employees take care and support our partners and ultimately make an impact in the communities that we serve.
Hello, friends. Listen, man, I got another video for you because this fiasco that's going on with Bud Light and DM and all the Pride Month that's happening today. I'm so happy. Today is July 1st. July 1st, and yeah, no more Pride Month, right? Well, I was thinking that until Tucker Carlson made a video last night, and you need to see this. Listen, friends, we're going to have a good time today. In this video, we're going to also talk about the CEO of Bud Light went over to CBS Mornings and kind of like blamed the customers.
This is just wrong.
He said a whole bunch of nothing. Let me put it that way. Tucker Carlson took a jab at this individual, Rachel Levine, who is the Assistant Secretary for Health and Human Services. So we're gonna talk about that because Tucker is another one, man, I'm telling you. But Bud Light, have they really learned anything? Listen, we're gonna see a number of things today. Before we get to this video, make sure you like and subscribe to the page, click the bell icon for more. Because DM, we spoke about that yesterday. We had DM on the channel and we reacted to this video of him, and Bud Light decided to answer his DM in a most generic way, but at least we need to take a listen at what Bud Light might be trying to say, or are they saying anything at all? Yeah, anyway, let's head over to Anheuser-Busch CEO to hear what he has to say about the boycott and the result of what's happening as a, since this thing has begun. It's about what, 3-something months now. Yeah, let's see. Have they really learned anything thus far?
Anheuser-Busch, U.S. CEO, that's Brendan Whitworth, we're happy to say, joins us at the table live and in color for an exclusive interview. Number one, we're glad to have you here.
Yeah,
many people in your position, Mr. Whitworth, would be running for the hills at this point, because since April, you all have faced a lot of incoming. How and why did it go so off the rails? Because that certainly wasn't your intention when you did one can to one person.
Yeah, it's been a challenging few weeks. And I think the conversation surrounding Bud Light has moved away from beer, and the conversation has become divisive. And Bud Light really doesn't belong there. Bud Light should be all about bringing people together. And there's been impact on the business, and I think that's publicly covered on Bud Light specifically.
Yeah, so
The conversation surrounding Bud Light has moved away from beer.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's because you guys got into politics. You made things political.
what was your intention? Take us to the beginning. What was your intention? What were you all trying to do here? And you've done this before, these promotional campaigns.
Yeah, it was, just to be clear, it was a gift, and it was one can. But for us, as we look to kind of the future and we look to moving forward, we have to understand the impact that it's had. And like I said, that impact has taken place. But it's the impact on our employees, the impact on our consumers, and as well, the impact on our partners. And I think one thing that I'd love to make extremely clear is that impact is my responsibility. And as the CEO, everything we do here, I'm accountable for.
Given the moment we're in, this moment in America with...
He talks like a politician, doesn't he?
...trans issues at the top of a Republican social or conservative political agenda, knowing what you know now, if you could go back, would you send this can to this one person again?
There's a big social conversation taking place right now, and big brands are right in the middle of it. And it's not just our
That wasn't the question they asked you, bud.
industry or Bud Light. It's happening in retail. It's happening in fast food. And so for us, what we need to understand is, deeply understand and appreciate, is the consumer and what they want, what they care about, and what they expect from big brands.
Who are the consumers you're talking about?
That doesn't make any sense.
The trans community or the people who's been drinking your beers for how many years?
So this is a part of why you're getting it from all sides, because I asked you, would you do it again? And people on the...
Yeah. Can you press the issue a little bit more?
But see, this is a part of why you're getting it from all sides, because I asked you, would you do it again? And people on the trans rights side of things, supporting that community, want you to say yes, of course. We want that fortitude. And people on the right would criticize you for saying yes. So where are you on the issue? I mean, was this a mistake?
You know, Bud Light has supported LGBTQ since 1998, so that's 25 years. And as we've said from the beginning, we'll continue to support the communities and organizations that we've supported for decades. But as we move forward...
A political answer. So in other words, yes, we will do it again. That's just what he just said. If we've supported them back then, we will support them again. I don't care what the backlash is saying. We will do what we do.
And I always tell it like it is.
I hear you, friend. I hear you.
You know, we want to focus on what we do best, which is brewing great beer for everyone, listening to our consumers, being humble and listening to them, making sure that...
You guys haven't been listening to nothing. You guys have learned nothing. What is this? Knowing that people are upset about what's going on. Not so much people don't have an issue with trans and gay in the way that you think. It's only when this stuff is attacking families and children that they're fighting back, okay? And DM is nowhere near being a trans. Is just a gay individual who just puts on women clothes and be somewhat of a caricature of women. This individual just makes fun of women. That's what he does. He makes fun of women and make women look stupid.
I'm serious. I'm done. I'm done.
That's what this individual does. Period. Bud Light. Have you learned anything at all? You know what they're saying? In your face, conservative. In your face, consumers. In your face, families. In your face, Christian. You want to boycott our business? Watch what we do. We're going to support this movement even more. So you can pretty much associate this Bud Light company with the trans movement. Maybe they should just add that to the LGBTQIA plus movement / Bud Light. Yeah, so when he says what he says, I get it. He's telling the truth. And this is why Tucker Carlson said.
Here's what Rick Levine looks like now from a video he just posted on Instagram.
Hello, my name is Admiral Rachel Levine, and I have the honor of being the Assistant Secretary for Health at the United States Department of Health and Human Services. Happy Pride. Happy Pride Month, and actually, let's declare it a summer of pride. Happy Summer of Pride.
What are you saying?
Happy Summer of Pride! Rick Levine is...
Happy Summer of Pride! We just can't have enough, can we? And let's go back to the interview.
That we do right by our employees, take care and support our partners, and ultimately make an impact in the communities that we serve.
So you did point out that Anheuser-Busch...
You just said nothing.
...has in the past supported the queer community. In fact, you had these cans in 2019 that were rainbow bottles that were sold in stores all across the country. But the political arm of Anheuser-Busch has donated to anti-LGBTQ plus politicians. So where do you stand, and where does the company stand on queer rights?
You know, we support politicians that support our business. And when we say that, we talk about things like things that work for the industry, allow us to grow the business, allow us to employ more people, and really help drive the economy.
Mm-hmm. You said when
he didn't say anything again. They're asking him really decent questions, but he's just giving you generic type of answers. I mean, I have a button for a man like that. Where is that button at? This ought to be one of the worst interviews I've ever watched.
You're embarrassing yourself.
At one point I heard you say, we're listening, we hear you. What did you hear, and how has it affected your employees? I'm curious about how they're feeling and how they're dealing with all of this.
Our employees, we have 65,000. If you look at the 18,000 Anheuser-Busch employees, and you look at the 47,000 Anheuser-Busch wholesaler employees, and they're full of pride, and they're full of commitment. And so it's really a privilege, and it's humbling to have the opportunity to lead the organization. When you say listening, I've been out to many of the impacted markets. My team has been out to many of the impacted markets. And over the last month, we've talked to over 100,000 consumers. And their feedback is very clear.
What is it?
The feedback is to reinforce what Bud Light has always meant to them, which is good times, goodwill, and easy enjoyment. And we have that all packed inside of our summer campaign that we launched last week. We're in the middle of the NFL. I know Nate's not here, but we're in the middle of our NFL campaign that'll be out in a few weeks. It's right there.
I hear that you guys are giving out free beer for July 4th as well. Whatever. People would rather go somewhere else and buy it. I don't drink beer. Guys, this is in no way promoting drinking alcohol. I don't believe it's the right thing for you to do, but it's bigger than alcohol for me because I'm realizing, okay, whoever this man is, Brandon, so they really give him a nice, somewhat curated, well-written speech to go here and somewhat play both sides of the spectrum. He's not really standing for anything. He's not really making a stand either for the LGBT or the consumers who are complaining, right? The people who drink their beer, they don't really care about them. It seems like he's leaning more toward, hey, we always supported Pride. We support those who support us. We support the politicians. It's very generic. It's very generic. There is no aiming and saying, calling things out for what they are. And he's wasting my time.
Unbelievable.
There. And I think the fact remains that millions and millions of consumers enjoy Bud Light each and every day.
But
and
they're still mad, though, Brendan, because the sales have dropped. How are you handling that?
Yeah, good question.
CEO,
good question again. Let's hear how he answers that.
I want to know what this was been like for you when you've had so much vitriol on all sides. Your sales are dropping. People, we have people firing guns at Bud Light cans. I mean, it's just gotten really off the chain, crazy.
Yeah.
So how are you grappling with that, handling that?
I think it's the impact, honestly, on the employees that weighs most on me. But again, as I mentioned, seeing the pride and the commitment that they have, working on behalf of a 165-plus-year-old American institution is what gives us energy as we look to move forward and focus on what we do best.
Yeah,
Those
so much
employees-
bigger than
I'm done with him. Guys, I cannot. What is this man talking about?
than a business story.
It is so much bigger than a business story. And I know this new campaign, this new ad campaign is going to focus on the people behind the beer. They've faced, confrontations just for driving a Bud Light truck. If you're a distributor, you face confrontations for selling the beer. There have been bomb threats. The LAPD had to do a sweep through.
That sounds like an emotional appeal. Nah, that's okay. I will agree. It's not fair because a person works for Bud Light that they are treated as that, because they're not the face of the company. That's just their job, okay? Daniel in Babylon, listen, I don't condemn anybody for working for a company. But in the wake of the situation today, if I was working for Bud Light, I probably would be looking for a different job at this stage, because I'm like, things are bad. The company has thrown us under the bus. Unfortunately, you're going to get the backlash of these people's decisions. And if I were you, I would join the boycott. I'll say enough. They had no business doing this because it's impacting my job and my business and my livelihood. But I'm totally against anybody being bullied or being called names because they work for Bud Light. That's not fair. They're not the ones. They're not the face. They're not the one making those decisions. So we cannot put the blame on them.
A brewery in Los Angeles, right? This is all happening. So when you have these conversations with these folks, I mean, I imagine some frank words are exchanged. They're upset. What do you say back? And is there any financial assistance to them?
Well, we announced a couple weeks ago or last week, we are announcing investment for our frontline employees and their employment, as well as financial support for our wholesalers.
Has that started?
That has started.
The money's going out. Wow.
And when you look at the organization, I mentioned it's 65,000 people when you put it all together. And if you extend it a little bit further, it includes American farmers, the folks that make our high-quality ingredients. And the campaign is all about celebrating them. And again, these are farmers, these are brewery workers, these are drivers, merchandisers, sales reps, everybody.
I feel like he's putting me to sleep.
What's this? It says everything I want to say.
I mean, guys, I got 2 minutes left in this video. I think it's best to stop it because this is a waste of my time, and I'm sorry for wasting your time. Let me read what Bud Light had to say about DM.
This is difficult for me to say.
As we've heard, we remain committed to the programs and partnerships we have forged over decades with organizations across a number of communities, including those in LGBTQIA+ community. An Anheuser-Busch spokesperson said, "The privacy and safety of our employees and our partners is always our top priority. As we move forward, we will focus on what we do best, brewing great beer for everyone and earning our place in moments that matter to our consumers." Great words. Very lovely.
What are you looking at?
The art of saying nothing with many words. So you think the Bud Light is going away? You think this boycott is going to just decrease and goes away? Bud Light, you haven't learned anything from all of this. And I think they are in for a rude awakening. And I would say to conservatives, listen, man, you just keep on pressing that button. Because I think not only the boycott, I have a video coming up, the impact of this boycott from Bud Light is impacting everything. Even BlackRock CEO themselves. The CEO of BlackRock is kind of careful. They're actually willing to stay away from DEI and even ESG and all of that. They realize this is not good for business. Okay, so what's going on with Bud Light particularly, and the reason why this continues to get worse is because they're trying to please both sides that are at war with one another.
You must choose one.
You see, no man can serve two masters. You either will get away from all of this altogether, stay out of politics, don't even touch it, don't smell it. Or if you're gonna stand for the LGBTQIA+, stand for them. Give them your support. Go ahead. Have your parade. Okay. Listen, support them all the way. Don't play this game. Don't do the double standard. No wishy-washy, no lukewarmness. Listen, man, be hot or cold about your decision. But if you're going to stand for the people who are standing, patriots, we're going to stand for the American people, the people who just want to be left alone. We want nothing to do with this. Well, you're going to have to make a stand either for this group of people or the patriots of this country. That's a choice. No man can serve two masters. For either he will hate the one or love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. Now, I think these companies, they could care less about gay, lesbian, trans, queer individual. They don't care about the LGBTQIA+ community in a way that we think. They actually don't. These companies, they care about money. Money is the God that they worship. They're all making these decisions because they know a number of things. Number one, the largest transference of wealth is coming. Okay, baby boomers are passing off the scene. Generation X are about to die. They're getting older as well. In the next 15 to 20 years, many of the generations X, their wealth is going to be passed down to their children and their grandchildren. These people in that generation, we're talking about the Generation Z, Gen Z, they're gonna be the ones handling the money. But Gen Z is highly into that trans movement. They're into that gay, they're into that ESG, they're into the climate change. That's the generation they were raised under, that TikTok generation, that iPhone generation. Now, you got to understand, these companies understand what's happening, and they're willing to take make a short-term sacrifice with lost, which is us, for a long-term gain. They're saying, I'm sacrificing you guys because there is a generation of wealth coming and we're going to gain a whole lot. So Bud Light might not recover for this for a long time, but they can actually come back when Generation X and many of the millennial generations step away from the boycott. They're going to get Generation Z to move on. This is a goal. It's a system they have in mind to make money. But I'm not sure if this is going to work out as well as they think it is. That's my thought, perspective on that from my own examination. I could be wrong. What do you think is going on? Like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more. Comment below. Share your thought and perspective with me. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye.